Hello, everybody. I think that we are live. Please tell me in the chat if we are or not. Let's get this party started. Welcome to Crossing China's Red Line. We've got a really interesting live stream for you guys today. We're going to be talking about the little pinks from China, those Xiaofeng Hong ruining universities here in the UK. We've spoken about this many times before, but we've got some new material. They just keep giving me material all the time to talk about them. It's just never ending. And to be quite frank, I am sick of it, sick to death of China's little pinks. So, if you don't know what a little pink is, if you're a little bit confused by that title, I'm pretty sure that most of you guys in the chat know what a little pink is by now. But basically, a little pink from China is just a kind word of calling them a nationalist piece of crap. Okay? They go flock to other countries in their thousands. Right now in the UK, there are over 154,000 Chinese students coming here to study. Now, obviously, not all of them are little pinks, right? But there are a lot of them that are because they have been proving their worth to the Chinese Communist Party by coming over to the UK and trying to censor classes at universities to go along with the CCP's narrative. And unfortunately for them, the whole world, including the UK, does not go along with China's one China policy or one China principle, where they say that Taiwan is an inseparable part of China. No, we have the one China policy where recognize Taiwan, we recognize China as the only China in this world, but we acknowledge their position that Taiwan is a part of their territory, but we only acknowledge what they are saying, you know? Like I could acknowledge that this ugly person thinks that they're the most handsome person on the planet doesn't mean it's true. It just means that I acknowledge that that's what they think, okay? So the rest of the world doesn't follow the one China principle. So anyway, these little pinks are getting mad. But first of all, I just wanted to refresh your memory. Oh, and by the way, just to put it into perspective of how many students from China are actually studying here in the UK, the Scottish city of Dundee has a population of 149,000. And that is 5,000 less than how many students are studying here in the UK from China, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna get straight into it. Let me just check the chat. Hopefully, I haven't been talking and yeah. Oh yeah, okay, good. You guys can hear me fine. Cool. Welcome everybody. Good to see you guys having a little chat there. All right, so let me pull up my screen and this time I got it set up right. Remember last week when I screwed up and I had to export the clip? That was embarrassing, but luckily we've got it sorted out today. Here we go. All right. Showtime. Okay, so this incident happened in the city of Leeds. Leeds has a very well established university, and it is primarily for students studying business studies. It's one of the best in the world, and a lot of students from China, that is their go-to subject. They're usually here studying business. Okay, pretty much every student that I met from China comes to the UK to study business. Okay, so this incident recently happened in Leeds, but I just wanted to take us back to a previous incident that also happened in Leeds. Leeds seems to be a real hotspot for China's little pinks. So, do you remember this clip? I talked about it on my Free China channel. We had these students from Leeds these Chinese students, and they encountered a bunch of Hong Kong protesters because there's a big Hong Kong community in Leeds as well. I'm friends with some of the Hong Kongers in Leeds. They have their own little Instagram page. They're really a cool bunch of guys and girls. I really get along very well with them. It's always great. I always see them at the Mega Embassy protests. Anyway, they were having a protest in Leeds against the CCP. Obviously, Hong Kong, a lot of Hong Kongers, they left China to escape from the CCP's totalitarian control and absolute takeover of Hong Kong, destroying all of the freedom that Hong Kongers once had. So they're here in the UK, they're protesting, then all of a sudden they encounter these little pinks from China that you can see just here, and they threw a milkshake all over the protesters. Let's have a look at what happened.
唔影翻我嘅？做咩要掉嘢俾我哋啊？想請我飲遞俾我哋啊嘛喂！
This is the funny part because when the Hong Kongers confronted them and chased them down, these little pinks tried to phone the Chinese embassy. Like the embassy has any
做咩唔出
power.
聲嚟㗎？
你不要入我，我
Anything
们那
in this
你倾向的
situation.
是
No,
的
I'm
是我。
asking you
They
question,
they
mate.
probably tried to ring 110, which is the number for the police in China, but then, they realized that they probably don't even know the emergency phone number here in the UK. Because a lot of these bozos, they come over here, they don't even speak English. The mummy and daddy paid for their course, little rich kids, CCP members. Mummy and daddy paid for their course. They cheated on a lot of the entrance exams to get there in the first place. Some of them don't, their English is absolutely abysmal.
I'm asking you question, mate.
Why do you throw milkshake at us?
I don't feel it. You can ask him.
Alright,
but
okay,
Okay, so
Well,
you
his
said,
friend
okay,
is
your
grasping
friend,
him up.
Thank you.
your friend just say you throw milkshake
No.
at us.
Hey,
I
thank
he
you, thank you.
recorded.
didn't. He didn't. 他没有把奶昔倒在里
Speak
面，
in
他只
English.
是倒在
This
吃
is England.
I
Speak in
can't
English.
speak.
See, the Hong Kongers like, this is England speaking English. This dude's English is fucking awful.
English. Okay.
Okay,
you can-
okay.
For
What are you doing here? Why you throw that milkshake to us? We are doing a protest here. Why are you throwing the milkshake to us?
Guys, excuse me, you can't come in here. You can't come in here.
You throw milkshake to us.
Hi,
guy.
why do you throw the milkshake at us?
fuck you,
Could you reply?
fuck you。你就去死啊！滚啊！
你说什么？
你是不是中国人？操你妈！中国人啊！
I'm
Like,
from
he
Hong
said
Kong.
like,
哎，你是红工人，是不是中国人？红工人
Chinese.
鸡滚！
操你妈滚！
F your
Why do
mum.
you throw the
F
milkshake
off.
at us?
你妈了个逼！中国人不会讲
Do you
中国
know
话
that's
是吗？
illegal?
操你妈！
They're like, your mum's
你放心，
Chinese.
踏
Why don't you
踏
speak
到你们
Chinese?
香港的地方的时候，你们就知道什么叫中国了。
Could you please
Hong
stop?
Kong is
Hey,
China.
can you please stop? We have called the police and the police are coming.
叫啊，你叫啊，
Yeah, we have called,
Horrible.
we have
I,
called the police.
this
你问一
girl's
下他。
pretty
We have
horrible.
called the police.
是不是坚持一个中国原则？
Attitude. Terrible attitude on this one. You get caught doing something and then you like pretend that it didn't happen. This is what they do. This is what these
You
little
are in
kids do.
England. Do you know how to
This is their modus operandi.
speak in English?
你上面那个旗写的都是中
Do
文。
you know how to speak in English?
I love the Hong Kongers just saying, do you know how to speak in English?
Hey, you are in England. We have called the
Awesome.
police. Could you please stop?
Anyway, we've seen that clip before, right? We know what happened. They got away with it in the end. Nothing really came of it, so it's okay to throw milkshake on protesters just because you disagree with their point of view, because you're trying to push a narrative of an enemy foreign government that's narrative is just really, really effed up. But yeah, it's okay to throw milkshake on protesters, right? Anyway, so we've got this situation that happened several days ago. I think it was on the 7th of October. Okay, so you've got this class. It's a class in Leeds, a business class, I believe. Okay, and the teacher is apparently teaching about the rise of Alibaba, which is the Chinese company. Okay. And apparently, the week before, the teacher spoke about Taiwan, and the Chinese students got really mad. So then the following week, she's doing this presentation. And I don't know if the teacher did this deliberately because of the students were pissed off about Taiwan, but she does have Taiwanese students in her class and Hong Kong students. So she put, if you see the flag right in the bottom right hand corner, she put Taiwan's flag in the slide for the PowerPoint. And she also put Hong Kong's flag, which is at the top right. Okay. And notice how the sentence, the question at the top says sources of advantages of your home country's firms. So the teacher is pretty much, well, not pretty much, she's clearly saying that Taiwan and even Hong Kong are countries. So anyway, the students got pissed off again, and here's how they reacted.
I mean, stop doing this.
Stop doing what?
Yeah, you see Hong Kong and Taiwan. Stop doing this.
Yeah, we just discussed it.
No.
We just discussed it.
You stop doing this. Okay? Delete it.
You know, yeah, we just discussed this. We do not issue
It's
between.
a problem.
We do not write. We did not because we have students from Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Wow. Okay, let's take that back. That's where it ended. Sorry, get this forward a bit. Get rid of this. Okay.
We have called
So listen clearly
the
to what the
police.
students
Could you
said.
please stop?
I mean, stop doing this.
Okay, he said, "Can you stop doing this?" Referring to putting up the flags on the screen.
Stop doing what?
Yeah, you see Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Stop doing this.
Stop doing this.
Yeah, we just discussed it.
No.
We just discussed it.
Listen to how rude this guy is as well. Like, just butting in over the teacher, speaking over the teacher. You know, whatever happened to this respect your elders kind of thing that we always hear from the propagandists? Like, oh, Chinese people respect their elders, not like in the West. Yeah, but listen to him, like showing absolutely no respect for this teacher whatsoever.
Stop doing this. Okay? Delete.
And then he is so brazen to say delete. He is demanding that a teacher deletes her material. Oh my God. This is really, really frustrating to see. It really is frustrating.
Delete it.
You know, yeah, we just discussed this. We do not issue
It's
between.
a problem.
It's a problem. No, it's not a problem for the rest of the class. The rest of the class couldn't give a shit which flags are up on that screen. They really couldn't. If I was in this class with these students, I would tell them to shut the fuck up, to be perfectly honest with you. I would be like, if you don't like it, get the fuck out, you know? Get out of here. Because how you can't tell a teacher what they can and cannot teach, you know, coming over here, spreading your authoritarian bullshit country's narratives. Like the bullshit government in your country won't let you talk about these subjects. So then you come to another country where people have freedom of speech. We're allowed to talk about this. Universities in the UK are protected by the Higher Education Freedom of Speech Act from 2023, where this act places new and strengthened duties on universities, colleges, and students' unions in England to ensure that lawful freedom of speech is protected and promoted. You come here and you try to defy that rule and push your bullshit narrative, and you're demanding that the teacher deletes her material. You are trying to censor the teacher in front of the whole class. I would tell this guy to shut the fuck up. Seriously. Imagine being a teacher and having to put up with this.
We do not write. We did not because we have students from Hong Kong and Taiwan.
So, and she said, and we have students from Hong Kong and Taiwan. And why are they not allowed to have a voice in the class? Why does this little pink think that he's the class leader where he can just tell everyone what they can and cannot do in his class? Man, this reminds me also do you remember the Michelle Shipworth case at the University College London where she was teaching her class and there was a student the class was about modern slavery in China, or that was just one of the slides anyway. And one of the students complained, even though China does have modern slavery in 2025, there are still slaves working in sweatshops in China and that kind of thing. And this student put in a complaint, and Michelle Shipworth was censored by the board at her university. She was kicked off of teaching the course, and she had to apologize just because she had the audacity to tell the truth in one of her classes. So anyway, we have this Higher Education Act, Freedom of Speech Act in 2023 for universities here in the UK, and it protects the speech of students who may be subject to harassment just for their views. So, if there's a Taiwanese student and they want to say that Taiwan is not a part of China, then this act technically should protect them. But you'll notice a pattern amongst this. It's always these shitty little pinks that have the loudest voice. And you'll find that there'll be people from China also sitting in that class, and they don't want anything to do with the little pinks, but they're so afraid of what the little pinks are saying, and the little pinks actually grassing them up to the CCP when they get back home, that they just go along with it or they just ignore it and they don't speak up for the people that these little pinks are trying to oppress, that they're trying to censor. Also, you'll notice the Taiwanese students, they barely stand up for themselves because they are the absolute minority in this situation and they get bullied by the little pinks. Um, I spoke to somebody from Taiwan several weeks ago, and she told me that she was a student here in the UK, and she told me that there was some little pinks in her university, and they surrounded her. They circled her because they knew that she was from Taiwan. They were classmates, and they said to her, "Say that Taiwan is a part of China. If you don't, then we're not going to let you go." Man, that is horrible. That is some horrible, horrible stuff right there. And this is what happens to the Taiwanese students because they are the minority and they are far outnumbered by the little pinks. It's ridiculous. And yeah, she didn't do anything about it. She didn't even complain to the university. I was so frustrated. I was like, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you complain? You know, there's a procedure in place to help you, but no, she didn't want anything to do with it because she was just afraid of these other students. Man, it's horrible, guys. It's really, really, really horrible. And bullying in any situation should not be accepted. It is unacceptable, especially at a university, especially when they have rules in place to protect students, and it still happens behind closed doors and you never hear about it because the Taiwanese students just put their heads down and get on with it. And that's just the way it is. But thankfully, we've got a bunch of Hong Kongers as well, and they will definitely voice their opinion. That's one thing about the people from Hong Kong is they are not afraid to say F the CCP, and that's really cool. And hopefully, the Taiwanese people can just, learn a thing or two from that and actually use the systems that are in place. Because these people, these little pinks from China, they're ruining universities in the UK. They're trying to censor free speech and they're trying to change the narrative at universities here in the UK to go along with their ridiculous narrative from the CCP. And that's horrible. And we really need to stop this. And universities, they need to really take a step back Look at what's going on. Do they really need the money from the CCP? Do they really need all of this money and sacrifice the freedom of their university, which is supposed to be an institution that values freedom of speech? Is supposed to be a place where students from all over the world can come here and feel comfortable in that university. So I think that these universities need to get it sorted the F out. Anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to say about that one. Let's continue. We got a lot to talk about today. A hell of a lot. And oh, yay. I bet you can't wait to hear more about the Mega Embassy. Let's see what you guys are saying about these little pinks, actually. Okay, let's go look in the chat. Sorry. Okay, Jasmine says, "Yep, they are bullies." Yeah, it's a horrible story, mate. Yeah, and it is a true story, by the way. I didn't just make that crap up. It definitely happened because, yeah, she told me a couple of weeks ago. Thankfully, she's no longer in the UK now, so she doesn't have to put up with that crap. But yeah, horrible, horrible stuff. Sorry, just taking a swig of me coffee. UK belongs to CCP China. Not yet, it doesn't. Not if I have anything to do with it. Imagine this is what you're known for all over the planet. Yeah, it's a shame because there are so many nice people from China and there are so many nice students from China, but their image just gets ruined by these shitty little pinks, man. Like, just, ugh, they're just awful. Should we talk about recent CCP China? We're talking about that in a minute, don't worry. Despite the espionage, the UK government still believes in the sea. Yeah, yeah, we're talking about that. Don't worry. We got a lot to talk about with that one. All right, guys, so let's get to it. Okay, so the Mega Embassy has been delayed again. Again, it keeps getting delayed, doesn't it? The original deadline was set to be on October of this month, the 21st, but it's been delayed further because tensions have risen over Labour's approach to China. So we all know that Angela Rayner, who was the deputy prime minister, resigned, and now there's some dude, his name is Steve Reed, who's in charge of the decision of giving this mega embassy the green light. It seems like they're really just trying their best to delay the inevitable. But why? Why the sudden delay? What the hell is going on? So, this delay coincides with the collapse of the trial of two alleged British spies for the CCP. So, we have on this picture, they're beautiful mug shots. We've got Christopher Cash, who was a parliamentary researcher working with some China research group with links to senior conservative members of parliament. And we have Christopher Berry, who's an academic who was taught in China since around 2015. The two Chris's. Okay, remember we had Canada's two Michaels who were imprisoned on jumped up charges from the CCP alleged because they were alleged spies. Well, the UK's version, although the two Michaels were good guys, we have the UK's version, the two Chris's. So the two Chris's were charged in April 2024 under the Official Secrets Act, or as we're going to call it from now on, the OSA. The allegation was that between late 2021 and February 2023, they collected or communicated information useful to an enemy or prejudicial to the safety of interests of the United Kingdom. So, what were the allegations? So, apparently, these guys were in contact with each other, and a person suspected of being a Chinese intelligence agent. Oh dear. But on the 15th of September, the Crown Prosecution Service dropped all of the charges. And the reason given? Wait till you hear this. The evidence no longer met the legal standard to proceed. What? So the Crown Prosecution Service said that they could not obtain from the British government a statement confirming that at the time the alleged offences occurred. What? China had so China had formerly been designated as a threat to the UK national security. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, has China formally been designated as a threat to the UK national security, which under the version of the Official Secrets Act they used would have been necessary for the charges to say that China was an enemy when they did this alleged spying, right? So we have this we had I'll use past tense here. We had this really archaic and out of date act called the this piece of legislation called the UK called the Official Secrets Act, which are laws that were designed to protect the government and the UK against espionage and the unauthorized disclosure of official information. The original legislation was the Official Secrets Act in 1911. 1911. That's over 114 years old? That's ancient. Why the hell are we still using legislation that was completed in a completely different time when the world was a completely different place? What the hell? Back then in 1911, when that law was created, there were much more clear ideas of what constitutes as an enemy of the state, right? Back then, you could tell who your enemies were. But in this year, in 2025, there are far more things that we need to consider when thinking about whether there's a country that is a hostile state. And it's quite interesting that this legislation has now been repealed, it's been replaced because of this very reason that it's out of date. It's been replaced with this little thing called the National Security Act, which now addresses the idea of modern threats, including disclosure of trade secrets, and it includes new offenses for assisting foreign intelligence services. But unfortunately, it's too late for this case because, and it's rather pathetic and rather sad and rather annoying. But the evidence that they were looking for this case, right? It was to prove that China is an enemy of the UK. Yeah. They tried to find evidence for many months to suggest that China is an enemy, but there were no witness statements that were forthcoming that stated at the time of the offense that China represented a threat to national security, which is absolute bullshit. So you're saying, right? Let's just use a little analogy to understand this, okay? So in a time before there were child protection laws, are we going to say that people who abused children in that time before there were child protection laws, these people are not guilty because at the time there were no rules to protect children? It's ridiculous when you think about it like that. This case is only from a couple of years ago, and China was not considered an enemy. There was no legal wording to prove that China was an enemy. So these guys basically, I mean, allegedly, they gave important information to a Chinese spy. I'm not saying that they did here, but they allegedly did do that. They were even taken to court, but because we couldn't prove that China is an enemy, these guys got off, got away with it. So, does China constitute as an enemy? Does it? I don't know. What do you guys think? I think China is an enemy. I really think China is an enemy, even if the British government are too afraid to say that China is an enemy. They couldn't even come forward and say anything about China being an enemy. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, China isn't an enemy, huh? So I thought I would just dig up the very definition of enemy. So, how do we define an enemy if we look at this? Okay, so you can see here it's a person who is actively opposed or hostile to someone or something. So, I wonder, do China's wolf warriors count as this? Because they're certainly hostile. They're definitely actively hostile, and they're hostile to someone or something, that being any other government that challenges their narrative. I mean, look at this. China warns the UK and its Five Eyes allies to be careful not to get their eyes jabbed and blinded after they demanded Beijing end its crackdown on Hong Kong. So China blasted the Five Eyes over its support for Hong Kong's opposition camp. Its foreign ministry warned Western alliance to be careful with their eyes. Comes after the UK and allies criticized Beijing for expelling 4 Hong Kong MPs. So this happened about 4 years ago, and they've continuously been belligerent and badgering and just really, really, really evil and horrible, and just talking like they're little spoiled childs, just blasting any government, any other, if any other diplomat behaved like this, then there would be World War III. But for some reason, China gets away with it. Anyway, so yeah, are they an enemy? They're certainly behaving like an enemy, right? And what about Xi Jinping when he made his speech several years ago? It was pretty hostile. He said, "Whoever tries to bully or oppress China will have their heads bashed bloody against a great wall of steel forged by the Chinese people." Certainly sounds like the words of an enemy, doesn't it? And we also have the definition of a thing that harms or weakens something else. And I thought we'd just take a look at some of China's propaganda cartoons in their state media because, yeah, this is definitely how an enemy behaves. And remember, these cartoons, these propaganda cartoons, are straight from the horse's mouth. This is Chinese state media, China's state media. It's not just some privately owned newspaper who has their own agenda. This is directly from the Chinese government's mouth. This is CCP talking to us. So here we have one of their stupid fucking cartoons of a British warship, all weak and feeble, and then looking in the mirror like it's all strong and shit. It's really stupid. And then we have like some weak ass like naval admiral, like with his weak ass arms, with the aircraft carrier. Like it's got little silly little wavy lines coming off of it, and stars and global Britain, eh? Wap, 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 wow. All right. And then we have this amazing one, it's the crossroads, one way engagement with China. It's a lovely, clean road. The other way, confrontation with China, is potholes in the road. Uh, I mean, to be fair, there's quite a lot of potholes in the roads here in the UK these days. So maybe we're going towards the confrontation with China. Yeah, China's not an enemy, right? Hmm. Okay, and then you've got this one. You've got the UK standing on the edge of a cliff, and you've got Australia with their back turned to the UK. We're ready to fight together over Taiwan, right? suggesting that nobody is with the UK. Come on. And then this is the most recent one that I found. This is talking about the relevant spy case. It's a guy wearing a Union Jack on his head, falling face planting, and he's got a note on him saying China spy case. Wonderful stuff, right? So this is not an enemy, apparently. China's not an enemy. Okay, just another thing that I wanted to quickly talk about. Let's move on to the next slide. Just remembering, if this is not an enemy, why on earth did the UK regulator for communications called Ofcom revoke CGTN, which is Chinese propaganda? It's their British English language state media video channel. Why did their license get revoked to broadcast in the UK? The license holders actually lied to Ofcom, and they used this licensing company that wasn't linked. Well, they said it wasn't. They said that it wasn't government linked, but they were pushing the propaganda of the CCP, which is government linked, which is against the law in the UK. We're technically not allowed to have other governments' propaganda channels on our televisions. But yeah, YouTube seems to be fine with it. So, and they openly broke the rules and started crying about it when they got caught. But yeah, is this not the behavior of an enemy breaking the country's rules that they're supposed to be operating in? Anyway, the last thing about this is, do you remember? When the FBI and MI5 leaders met several years ago, they warned, they gave us a warning that China is the biggest long term threat to economic security. Now, is that not an enemy? How could they be a threat if they're not an enemy? So, yeah, it's ridiculous. This whole thing is ridiculous. So obviously there's been some MPs and commentators which have criticized the government. I think Ian Duncan Smith is one of them. He's a conservative MP. He even ran for prime minister once. But they've criticized the government for not having clearly classified China as a national security threat earlier, even though this FBI and MI5 meeting did classify them as a threat. And these critics from the government, they say that this failure made the legal case very weak or practically impossible. They were going against impossible odds, it seems. So this Christopher Cash, his defense, and others have argued he was never acting as an agent of the CCP, and that the material allegedly passed was not secret or was publicly available or otherwise not suitable for espionage convictions. I'd really like to see what he was even being accused of. And there's also a big concern about how this case reflects on UK's laws and policy on designating foreign powers, transparency, and how foreign influence is handled. Some say that the legal thresholds or political decisions hinder prosecutions in such cases, which I'm glad we have this new act now. So hopefully, this will make things a lot easier. So if there is a case of espionage, it can actually be proven in court that this person has committed that offense. And of course, we have Starmer, good old Keir Starmer, doing his usual thing of blaming the former government. He always does this. Apparently, it's the previous government's fault for not classifying China as a threat to national security and therefore not being able to provide the court with the crucial evidence they needed. Why, for every time this guy fails, does he keep blaming the former government? And this guy has had a lot of failures during his term, and he's only been in power for just over a year now. Starmer, how about here's some advice for Starmer. Why don't you grow a pair and just do the right thing, man? The truth is, he's scared of upsetting China because he wants to make that little trade deal, right? And he's also going to get this mega embassy approved. And the simple fact is, they've delayed it, and it's getting back to the start of this little presentation of mine. But the fact is, they've delayed this mega embassy because they want to avoid another embarrassment regarding China. Because this case, this spy case, this is big news. A lot of people are talking about this, even people who aren't interested in the whole China thing. They're even talking about it. I've seen it on various channels. And until this threat of the CCP is out of the news, out of people's minds, then Starmer is going to keep stalling this mega embassy because he really, really wants to get it approved. And Starmer and the Labour government right now, they're China's bitches. They really are. They're kissing China's ass big time. And that mega embassy, it's only a matter of time before it gets approved. I'm sick of the mega embassy, guys. Anyways, we are going to move on from it. I think I've said enough about this, but yeah, I'll be keeping my eye on it as usual. And if there's any further developments regarding this mega embassy, then I'll let you guys know. And there's a bunch of sources in the video's description, so go and check it out if you're interested. I'm sure you are. Let's move on. I just put in a bunch of footage that I took from the mega embassy just for. I should have played it in the background, but who gives a crap? Let's see what you guys are saying. There will be a hell of a lot more spy cases if they allow this mega embassy. Yeah, you're right. You are right. There will be, and they'll use it as a secret spy base. It's directly next to some very important telecommunications cables, so it's inevitable that there's going to be more spy cases, and a lot of people are easily bought and easily corrupted, and it's a shame. Alrighty, so let's move on. So we've got some, as usual with today's stream, I usually just near the end when we've spoke about the important topics, we just look at some funny, ridiculous clips that I found from China. So within the last week or so, let's have a look. We've got another autonomous delivery vehicle failing. These things are absolute shite. Don't believe the propaganda, guys. These things don't work. Yeah, China's in the future, guys. Yeah, it doesn't even have the sense to back up. You know?
这车子不要钱，国家的。
你把去搞啊！
我帮他搞得上去啊，要我进去开还差不多啊，我进去开我怎么帮他搞得上去啊？
It's embarrassing. This is embarrassing for them, which is why they don't want these sort of clips circulating around the internet.
哦，对，把谁的了？
All right.
照样赢，进去开，要么就是把几个人把后轮抬起来，推一下就上去了。
Yeah. This clip goes on for far too long. I think we've seen enough. All right, yeah. So you've got this lady, and I believe that she's selling that sweet potato. Is it a woman or a man? I don't know. I can't really see. Yeah, look at where this person has put their little stall, right in the middle of the frickin' road. Like blocking traffic. Like honestly, let's look at it again quickly.
这家伙笨的要死，你去抬了。
The stupid autonomous delivery vehicle. My God, here we are. Yeah, look, just right in the middle of the road. Selfish. Okay, we're looking at a lot of road clips today, by the way. Here we go. Can we guess what's gonna happen? Let's go. I don't know. I actually can't remember what happened. Oh my god. Oh my. Okay, yeah, that happened. Don't worry, she's fine. She's fine. Look, look, she gets up. She's all right. Bit of a shock. See, look, she gets up. She's okay. Bit of a shock. Jesus Christ, we need to see that again. Out of nowhere, look. Holy crap. She is lucky. Her helmet went flying off as well, but she is so lucky that there wasn't a serious injury with that. God. Oh man, yeah, this one. I remember this one. What the fuck? Imagine you just walking down and the power cable explodes and comes down on you. Like, that could seriously electrocute you. Holy shit. Do you see, like, I put some slow-mo on that, but did you see it explode? Watch. Whoa. Holy crap. Crap. Man, that is, no pun intended, shocking. Okay, I make myself laugh, so it's alright, you know. Wow. Amazing. I mean, that is it though. This is like the shoddy construction. They just do a bodged job, especially with electronics, with electrics, like wires, wiring up the cables in the streets. You look at it and it's like a freaking mess out there, you know? And like accidents like this are inevitably going to happen. And it's lucky no one was injured there. Like seriously fortunate. Like the way that cable exploded, that could have caused so much more damage. Okay, I actually forget what's gonna happen on this clip as well. Hopefully we don't have another surprise scooter like jumping in the way. Whoa, fuck! Okay, we did. It was a motorbike. I think this dude is gonna be okay. The way he slid off that bike there, I think he's fine. He might have like a little bit of what they call road rash, you know, but he's fine. He's fine. Just a little bit of a shock again. Phew, we're getting a lot of these random bikes flying in front of the screen at the moment, aren't we? Seems to be a recurring theme. All right, we've got a made in China EV. Now look at this thing explode. Look at that. Thankfully, there's nobody in this vehicle, right? Yeah, look at that. That is shocking. Did I just hear a clown horn there? What the hell? Man, that is blazing. You see, this is why I'm worried, you know, because I see these BYD shops, garages, however you want to say it. I see these all over the UK at the moment, you know, even some shopping centres have them. And then I see clips like this, and spraying water on it is not going to do anything. These fires just rage and rage, and they never stop. You just gotta let this thing burn out. That's the best way to do it. Look at that. Whoa. Again, you know, like we're sticking with the road theme or vehicle theme or whatever. So you've got another one of these puncture scammers, the broken vase scammers, the ones that try to throw themselves in front of moving vehicles to claim compensation. We've spoken about it before. I believe this lady is one of them. Come on, what's she doing? Come on, come on. And like, this is the most China clip I've ever seen. Beijing bikini guy grabs her. Look, he's got a Beijing bikini. His pot belly's hanging out.
哇，真的要打他一顿的，妈呀，吓死人！
I love that sound effect.
要吵架不要害别人，哇，
God.
真的要打他一顿。
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, you know, maybe not slap her. I don't think she really deserves that, but yeah, they definitely need to get her out of the way. I just want to see that again because it's so ridiculous. It's the most China scene I've ever seen. Like that, the way the road is looks like it goes into some like bumfuck nowhere place. You got Potbelly Beijing bikini grabbing her. Like,
要吵架不要害别人，
sorry,
Wow,
I shouldn't laugh at that, but I can't help it.
妈呀，吓死人！
Oh dear. Okay, and this is another thing. Like, this is like some scams that happen on the roads in China. So you really gotta be careful. This guy's deliberately popping the tires because he obviously knows somebody who has like a garage down the road or whatever who can fix it. So he's in on this little
坏，你也
scheme,
坏，这么坏，
deliberately going
啊
around
生
popping
怕人
people's
别人
tires with
去
his
弄俺们这
knife.
事，坏，你这坏不坏？哎，你要是坏物这人哦，你看到坏，
And you have to go and get your tires fixed
正谁不
at
干
his
这个？
garage
你这
or
人
his
谁不能
friend's
干？
garage.
都能干这啥的，
That's it.
都能干丢人家去。
But this is how desperate
Oh.
people are for money. And this one where they're actually throwing glass and broken parts onto the road. So then you drive over it, and then you have to go and get your tires fixed. It's a similar kind of scam. Why are they deliberately, look, they're deliberately throwing it on the
这不要
freaking
爆车了。
Does this sort of shit happen? In that situation, you stop your car, you get out, and you freaking like tell him to stop doing it. Call the police, take photos, take lots of evidence, like probably what they're doing here, right? Stupid shit, eh? Why? All right, we've got a couple more clips before we're ending the stream, but again, just once again, I say this in pretty much every single stream because we quite often look at clips like this. But those shills who are telling you that there are no thieves in China and people don't have to steal things because everybody's wealthy and there's no poor people, no homeless people, people don't do bad things. It's a lie. You got loads of clips. Look at this guy. Grabs her phone. We'll watch the full scene. So it's a young mother with 3 kids, you know. She's got one of those little buggies. It's got a little stash area for her phone at the front. Dude's walking along. Look at him. He doesn't look suspicious at all, does he? Like the most obvious. There he goes, yoink. He goes, he walks off into the sunset. He's got himself a new phone. And then you've got these little kids just finished school. Yoink, 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 yoink. See ya! Oh, I didn't get enough. I just need some more. Guys, shopkeeper chases them. Look, you've got the other 2 keeping a watch out. Here we go. I wonder if he caught them. Look. Yeah, it never happens in China, guys. Never. All right, one last clip. Another incident that happened this month. You've got more Chinese Coast Guards trying to ram the Filipino Coast Guards in the West Philippine Sea, not the South China Sea. We're going to call it the West Philippine Sea. Another example of China's bullying tactics towards other countries. And they wonder why the whole world hates them. Luckily, remember that other clip where the Coast Guard smashed in China Coast Guard vessel smashed into the China Navy vessel? And yeah, it was debatable whether somebody was actually killed because there was guys standing at the front of that ship and they collided. Well, at least that didn't happen this time, but I kind of wanted it to happen. Every time I see one of these clips of China harassing the Philippines in the Philippines' own territory, by the way, because that whole nine dash line thing is absolute bullshit. But every time I see one of those clips, I just hope that there's going to be a Chinese naval ship come out of nowhere and the two ships just smash into each other. Unfortunately, it didn't happen this time. But you can see how aggressive they are. Look at them hosing them, spraying them with that water cannon. Epic. Filipino guys are laughing.
CCJ 5 o'clock on water cannon. 30 meters.
It is ridiculous behavior, though. But that's how a bully behaves. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's live stream. That's all I've got for you. I'm sorry I don't have anything else, but yeah, we've been going for a while, so now it's time just to kick back and let's get this off the screen. We'll do a couple of chats. See what you guys are up to in the comments. I've been ignoring the comments because I've been trying to just blast through this material. Did you guys enjoy today's stream? I'm not going to read all of the comments. I'm just going to wait for some new comments to show up. So I'll just sit here. Oh, like wait for you guys to say something, you know. So yeah, I will read every comment that shows up, but I'm not going to read the older ones. But yeah, you guys have been, wow, yeah, you've been chatting a lot, huh? I didn't realize that. We don't have that many subscribers still on this channel, but I'm going to try and promote it a little bit more. It's kind of been my fault because yeah, oh yeah, the hair growth, I mean, it's kind of getting there, I guess. Yeah. Still not good. Still not good. Okay. Headley gives it a blazing review. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. It was a lot, Lewis. I almost had a heart attack from a few videos. Well, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I should have put out a warning before, like, some of those clips were played, perhaps. But it doesn't matter. What do I think about Xi's health? Well, I mean, he's getting old. I know that much. Honestly, though, like I try to avoid those like sensationalist topics that you see a lot of on these various like China hawks and their channels. You know, they often sensationalize everything, and they talk about stuff that like it actually doesn't fucking matter if Xi Jinping is going to die or not, because the fact of the matter is just some other douchebag in the CCP is just going to take over, and it's going to be exactly the same stuff, you know. So if she dies, then we'll just have somebody else, and it'll be almost the same. So yeah, if he's healthy, if he's not, like, I'm not really that bothered about it, I guess. But yeah, I try not to get into topics like that, really. Thanks for the comment, Jasmine. Yep, we enjoyed the show. That's good to hear. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Turkey. Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe I need to go to Turkey to get that hair transplant, you know, you know what I mean? Oh dear. Enjoyed it. We have those mini Chinese electric car showrooms popping up everywhere in Australia. It is a real yes, yes. I'd like to say I'm glad it's not just in the UK, but I was kind of wishing that it was just in the UK. The fact that it's cropping up all over the place is very worrying indeed. I love those videos. I'm just too old for surprise. Well, it's always a surprise on this live stream. She is heart attack not once. Yeah, again, like, like I see all of these channels talking about it. I just don't know how much of it's true or not. So I really, really try not to get into it. Yeah, but yeah, it's difficult to ignore that sort of thing as well. But for me, it doesn't matter. Like I said, we're just going to get some other dickhead in charge of the CCP. So whether it's she or not, let me see. I'm gonna try and show you a picture. Oh, I don't want to upload anything on here. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I can share my screen with you. Let's open that first, though. Okay, let's make it take up the screen. Okay, let's see. Can I share my screen? Share screen. Uh, Allow. Yeah. Okay, can you guys see this? Hold on. That's an image from my most recent video that's coming out tomorrow. And I just want you to think about this image and wonder what the hell is going on. That is going to be from my new video tomorrow. I did another Taiwan flag video, and this was yeah, just one of the, I have to say, probably the most ridiculous encounter that I've ever had making videos walking around London. Like seriously, it was yeah, man. You're gonna have to see this video tomorrow to believe this. I'm not hyping this, by the way. This is gonna be well worth a watch over on the Free China channel. You're gonna love this interaction, I think. Yeah. But I'm not going to say much more. I just wanted to show you that image and, let you ponder and think about the hell happened and what's this video going to be about. All right, I'm going to hide that now. Yeah, I think you guys are going to love this. She got a piss egg lodged in his left ventricle. More than likely, or he probably drank a pint of gutter oil or something. What do I think about Alan Yu's death? The question is, who is Alan Yu? Yeah, who? I don't know who that is. Maybe I haven't read that. Uh, Let me guess. People in UK care even less about CCP influence. Given, yeah, of course, it's always going to be that. Always, there's always something more important, right? You sycophant, Jasmine. What? Okay. Insane we let ourselves be so dependent on the CCP for rare earth and it wouldn't even be so hard to do ourselves. Yeah, I know, right? I know, I never understood that. Alan Yu is a plaything of. I don't even know who he is. She's heart monitor. The dude hasn't got a heart. In order to have a heart monitor, you need to actually have a heart, you know? I don't think he has one. Let's see. Fashion show. No. No, that image is not. Uh, they are doing a photo shooting. Yeah. Can you do a mirror universe video or live stream where you are over the top comrade for the CCP? Yeah, I mean, I could do. Yeah. I could get my shield on if you want me to. For sure. a man with a dress. You guys wait until you see it. Wait until you see this video. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Uh, Perhaps I was a little bit harsh with this young lady, but I I feel like she was kind of asking for it. I think she kind of got herself into that situation, and it so could have easily been avoided. You'll see tomorrow, guys. You will see tomorrow. All right. Anyway, that is it for today's live stream. I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. We've had a pretty good one. Sorry for waffling on there about the mega embassy, but this is just something that I need to get off my chest, and I need to talk about this because I've noticed like not a lot of YouTube channels especially like some of my friends and whatnot that the mega embassy is not really a topic that they're discussing. Like I said, I have seen it on some other random YouTube channels, but I'd like to see more people who talk about stuff in China sort of, like highlight this mega embassy thing because it's really, really interesting. And yeah, Jasmine, we don't have a outro for this channel because let me just get that on the screen. Yeah, I'm gonna work on making an outro for this channel, but unfortunately, the original outro for the Free China live stream, it contains copywritten music, which I have a license for copywritten music, but it's only applied to my Free China channel, so I can't use any of that copywritten music on this channel. Um, Otherwise, like I might run into some problems where the whole video gets taken down because there's a copyright song on it. So I'm gonna try and find some copyright free music. YouTube has an audio library, but a lot of the songs they suck. So I want to try and find some good copyright free music, and then if that happens, I'll definitely make a new outro. But yeah, yeah, I'm not getting lazy. I've worked my ass off this week to make a new video for Free China. I was editing it pretty much all day today, so definitely not lazy. Yeah, whistle something for an outro. Gee, I mean, oh yeah, we'll whistle "Glory to Hong Kong."